And now, the youngest athlete in Olympic history, the 9-year-old Kevin Swanson, will compete for gold in Fortnite. Truly a historic moment in Olympic history.
There has been some commotion about esports not being recognized as a legitimate form of sports lately. The German Olympic Committee declared that esports is not a legitimate activity to compete in because it's not sportive enough. To quote, soccer or football belongs on the green grass. In all actuality, they are afraid of losing control. Because if you let people compete in video games under your banner, you also get the game's developer and publisher on board. And thereby lose some control over what is going on. You don't make all the rules anymore, and maybe even have to share the profit. Classic sports clubs are losing members fast, so they are attempting to slow the progression of esports as much as possible. Because gatekeeping always worked out so fine in the past. Now here's an opinion about that some of you may find surprising. I don't mind their decision. I don't need to see esports at Olympia, and I frankly don't want it. We can do it all ourselves, and that worked out fine so far. We don't need them. And although I am quite happy with the National Olympic Committee's opposition to the idea of esports, their reason is laughable. They're opposed to it because video games are too violent. Not even thinking about regular sports games or actual boxing matches. This whole argument is a sad joke considering where the honorable Olympics are taking place. Olympia is a joke to me. I don't need to see competitive video gaming put in front of the cart of a dictatorship. Having these sportive festivities in a place where human rights are discarded is something that always struck me as horribly ironic. People coming together in friendship to compete against each other, where a few kilometers away people are being held in prison camps, people are being discriminated against for their beliefs or killed for being gay or not for believing in the correct magic man in the sky, always struck me as cynical. The latter one is more directed at the FIFA World Cup that will be held in Qatar in 2022, a country where the stadiums are built with literal slave labor and apostasy is punished by death. I wonder if they will go ahead and murder all gay football players, or can Sharia law be set aside when it would hurt your worldly interests of making your regime look good? Similar things were made possible at the 1936 Olympics. I know that the FIFA World Cup and Olympia are different things, but in regards of putting a shiny glitter on horrible places, they are just the same thing in a different color. Of course you can have a League of Legends tournament in China, there's nothing morally wrong with it. The point where I go and condemn it is when people get displaced and have their homes demolished so your tournament can look pretty. You guys remember the Beijing Olympics, don't you? Last November, the International Olympic Committee recognized esports as a sporting activity, and it is set to be a full medal event at the 2022 Asian Games in Hangzhou. Esports is a bigger thing in the Asian region than here in the West, so that they moved to recognize it faster than we do here was not surprising. But do you know where Hangzhou is? It is in China. A country with a horrible human rights record. A country where the government sells the organs of prison inmates. That shit even has a name. It's called organ harvesting. Just the word gives me goosebumps. Besides the whole propaganda effect for horrible regimes, the Olympic apparatus is incredibly corrupt, just like FIFA. Money gets shuffled around in millions and favors are done. Just Google Olympia and corruption and you have reading material for days. And even the top-level corruption put aside, the corruption at lower levels is no less disappointing. Where money is to be made, criminal energy flows. Doping is a rampant problem. It is so widespread that even some countries' doping agencies are the ones facilitating the problem they are supposed to combat. Not too long ago, we have seen first instances of the usage of performance-enhancing substances in esports. But with the further commercialization of esports, this problem will only grow. When Counter-Strike tournaments were still held in a basement, nobody thought of the idea that one day it would be necessary to check for doping. Now that it has gotten so big, this development will not halt. With big football clubs like Schalke trying to get into esports, it is only a matter of time until esports will get just as corrupt as any other big sports organization. I'd prefer for esports to be something new and different. Maybe we are able to put something together that is a bit less corrupt. To be pessimistic, esports would not even have to become an Olympic discipline to become corrupted over time. Without it, it would just take longer. And sooner or later, video games will find their way in as an Olympic discipline simply for the fact that they are too popular to be ignored. You can get more young people to watch a StarCraft or Counter-Strike event than fencing. There's a lot of money to be made here. Yet, for the end consumer, there's nothing much to be gained here except for being sold out. Esports doesn't have to be in the same league as football or fencing. I wouldn't mind it remaining a separate thing. I can enjoy it without the giant apparatus of corrupt institutions behind it. We are able to get corrupted all by ourselves.